Welcome, everyone. It's been a long time. I know it's been a long time. Unfortunately, I have to go to college, and whilst I'm at college, I study, I do my homeworks and all that, so that's why I don't have a lot of free time. Obviously, it's been like what 9 days ever since the incident. Yeah, and you know what incident I'm talking about? It's basically like the assassination of Charlie Kirk and everything. That's obviously bad, and I hope it's bad. And I'm just gonna say this one thing: people who are celebrating his death, if they are employed by or they're attending a facility or a university or any place, celebrating the death of a person, of any person that is essentially innocent, has never harmed anyone with actual direct physical harm, should not be acceptable and tolerated in a society like ours. It should not happen. And I do think that it's not a good thing that people in social media have been allowed to express violent rhetoric for this long. It should not have happened. Should never happen. And it's unfortunate that it leads to happen to this way. And here's the thing, like what really sucks and what I don't like the most about the whole situation is that people are using Charlie Kirk's assassination as a way to further divide people, to further foment disruption, to further make them constantly hate each other and everything. And I don't think that's good because whenever you have people that are divided and distracted, they essentially allow their overlords, the people that run the whole system, to essentially exploit them, and they essentially allow them to get away with corruption. And that's not a good thing. It should not happen anywhere. And I'm sad that this situation happened. And I really and you know what's interesting is that I go to a college. I don't know if I mentioned this before, but I go to a college in California where Charlie Kirk did go and have one of his debates once before the 2024 elections and once after the 2024 elections. And obviously it feels bizarre because I'm personally like I am of the Democrat Party and I have for a long time considered myself a liberal, and I've never considered myself a left winger. I don't think I have ever considered myself a left winger because that's not something I would do. Or not really, because it's just a term that I've just haven't been familiar with, but I did know that what liberal means, and so yeah. And for what really made me interested is that Charlie Kirk was someone who was willing to welcome you despite differences. He was willing to debate you, and he even encouraged people, especially his fellow right wingers, to challenge themselves. Like, for example, if you are someone who thinks of themselves as right wing or conservative, he suggests you to basically read things like the Communist Manifesto or read left wing or left leaning pieces of literature, so that way you can basically challenge your mind and find out more about yourself as an individual. And the same thing he said for left wingers and left leaning people, that if you think you're if you consider yourself a left leaning person, then you should basically challenge your mind by reading pieces of literature that are related to right leaning, right wing people. And I do think that that's something honorable of Charlie Kirk, because you barely see any person that's involved in politics to actually encourage people to challenge their minds. And obviously, you can say that Charlie Kirk had crazy, out of touch opinions in some regards, but that's just natural, and I don't think it justifies his assassination. He just said words, and as people have constantly said, don't fear someone who's speaking and who has certain points. Fear the amount of people that agree with said points. Just because you assassinate someone is not going to make people stop believing in that same thing. If anything, it's just going to further radicalize them and make them more prone to fight back with the same amount of violence. And I'm a person who believes in control, who believes in neutrality, and who believes in balance. And obviously, it disappoints me that there haven't been as many left-leaning figures that have called out the bad actors in the left-wing political spectrum. But that's whatever. Case in point, things are going to be chaotic for a while. But case in point, things that are going to be chaotic, and I really hope at some point people can find common ground and unite. Yeah, either way, that's it. Now, what I wanted to do was briefly cover some of the things that I have seen, because I'm a person who was born in the third world, and in the third world you're basically exposed to constant amounts of violence and chaos, and the last thing I want is for the United States to fall into that space. I don't want America to become like a third world country where people are constantly killing each other over trivialistic stuff. I really do hope that the government gets things under control, and that one day we can all come and have shared values. And yeah, I do think there needs to be control, more control. And by more control, I don't mean the creation of new laws that will basically lead to Americans losing or giving up their rights. But by more control, I mean the government should enforce the existing laws that there are already here. We already have laws that punish certain kinds of speech. For example, any speech that incites violence is punishable. And I'm glad that the government is asking and calling out the CEOs of social media platforms to testify over the rising amount of radicalization that having going on in their platforms. I think it's a great thing. I think the CEOs and the social media companies having getting away with so much for so long. With that said, I do want to talk about the assassin, but so far there's just so much going on about the assassin that I can really say a fixed thing about it. So I'm just gonna wait probably by next weekend or tomorrow. I think I will end the live here. That's it. Bye. See you.